Hey everyone, and welcome. So, you've done the hard part, right? You actually sat down and made a budget, but for some reason at the end of the month, things just aren't adding up. Well, today we're going to talk about 5 super common budgeting mistakes that are probably secretly costing you money. And, most importantly, we're going to talk about how to fix them.
So let's just start with a really simple question. I want you to think about this for a second. Is your budget actually working for you, or does it feel like it's working against you? Is it a tool that's helping you get ahead, or is it just this constant source of stress? If it's the second one, you might be falling into a few very common traps. Let's figure it out.
All right, first up is a mistake that is so common. I call it the invisible spending trap. This is what happens when your good intentions kind of crash into reality and your money just seems to vanish into thin air.
And here's the thing. A budget that you don't actually look at, it's not a plan. It's just a wish list. You set all your spending limits, you feel really good and responsible, but then life happens. And without checking in regularly, all those little unplanned purchases start to pile up. And before you know it, you've completely blown a category and you have no idea how it even happened. But look, the fix for this is surprisingly simple. You just have to make tracking a quick daily habit. And I'm not talking about a huge chore. Then just set aside 5 minutes on a Sunday. 5 minutes. Grab a coffee, open up your app or your spreadsheet, and just see where you're at. When you categorize everything each week, all that invisible spending suddenly becomes visible. You get this incredible feeling of control back just by knowing where your money is going.
So that brings us right to mistake number 2, and you'll see how these build on each other. This one is budgeting without a net. This is all about planning for the fact that life is, unpredictable. It is always going to throw you a curveball.
Oh, you know this feeling. Your budget is going perfectly. You're hitting all your targets. And then, bam, the check engine light comes on. Or you get a text reminding you your best friend's birthday dinner is next week. These are the kinds of costs that can totally derail you, and they make you feel like budgeting is just impossible. And the solution here is actually way simpler than you might think. It's not about changing your whole life. It's about building in a little safety net. See, by just setting aside a small slice of your budget, maybe 10% for unexpected costs, you create a buffer. You're basically planning for surprises so those little emergencies don't turn into full-blown financial catastrophes. So here's your 2-part fix. First, create that monthly miscellaneous or, oops fund. That's for the little stuff. Second, and this is absolutely crucial, you build a separate emergency fund for the big stuff. Just think of it like the ultimate insurance policy for your budget. Okay, on to our third mistake, and this one is all about psychology. I call it the all-or-nothing mistake. This is when your own ambition kind of backfires and sets you up for failure from the start. It is so tempting to go extreme, to say, that's it, this month I'm not eating out at all. No more fun spending, period. But this is just like a crash diet. It never lasts. You end up feeling miserable and deprived, you burn out, and then you just give up on the whole budget. And you usually end up spending even more than before. So the secret is to shift from these vague, impossible goals to something you can actually achieve. Forget the all-or-nothing approach. Instead, think in terms of SMART goals. That's specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. A goal like reduce dining out by 10% this month is a real challenge you can track. It's a game you can actually win.
So the fix here is to think like a marathon runner, not a sprinter. Just aim for small, gradual cuts, 5 or 10% at a time, and then you celebrate those little wins. And from now on, make sure every single financial goal you set for yourself passes that SMART test. Okay, let's talk about the silent budget killer. Mistake number 4 is something I call death by 1,000 leaks. These are the expenses that are so small you barely even notice them, but trust me, together they create a flood. We're talking about that daily coffee, right? Or the afternoon snack from the vending machine. Or, and this is a big one, that streaming service you signed up for with a free trial 6 months ago and forgot to cancel. They just don't feel like big deals in the moment. But these tiny, constant drips are quietly siphoning money right out of your account. And when you actually sit down and do the math, the impact is shocking. Just take a simple $4 coffee. If you buy one every single day, that adds up to nearly $1,500 a year. Let that sink in. $1,500. That's a vacation. That's a huge payment on a credit card. It really puts those tiny little leaks into perspective, doesn't it? So how do we plug these leaks? You gotta become a detective. Once a month, go through your bank statement, audit all your subscriptions, and be ruthless. Give yourself a small daily allowance for those random little purchases. And find just one simple swap, like making your coffee at home, and you will instantly put that money back where it belongs, in your pocket.
And that brings us to our fifth and final mistake. I call this one the set and forget fallacy. This is the totally wrong belief that once you create a budget, the work is done. Listen, a budget is not carved in stone. It has to be a living, breathing document. I mean, your life isn't static, right? So why on earth would your financial plan be? You might get a raise, your rent might go up, your personal goals might completely change. A budget that doesn't evolve with you is a budget that is absolutely destined to fail.
The fix is so easy. Just make it a routine. Put a budget review meeting with yourself in your calendar for the first of every single month. Look back at what worked last month and what didn't. Tweak your categories, and then just pick one area to focus on improving. This is how you keep your budget relevant, effective, and always moving you forward.
And I really want to leave you with this idea, because so many of us think of a budget as a cage, right? A list of all the things we can't do. But that's not it at all. A good budget is not about restriction. It is about clarity. It's about you telling your money where to go instead of scratching your head and wondering where it all went.
So, as we wrap this up, I have one question for you. Looking at all these fixes, what is the one thing you are going to start doing today? Are you going to start tracking your expenses? Set up that miscellaneous fund? Maybe just find one SMART goal to tackle? Just pick one, start right now, and begin that process of turning your budget from a source of stress into your single most powerful financial tool. Thanks for tuning in.